Rolling. Hi everybody and welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and in this lesson we are going to talk about 5 tips to practice your speaking skills alone. I prepared 5 tips and a few other small tips that I hope will help you as you work on developing your speaking skills, your English speaking skills or speaking skills in any other language. So I hope everyone can find something today. And if you have any questions, you can send them in the chat live. Let's go to a couple of quick announcements while we wait for everyone to join. And of course, as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so that other people can find today's lesson. That would be super cool. All right, announcements. This week, there is this banner at the bottom of the screen, 45% off. If you want to practice with our lessons, if you want to study with our lesson materials, click the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, and you will find this page right here. So if you want to know the details about the different plans that our team has to study with our lessons, you can scroll down on this page and you will find all of this information. So hopefully this will answer the questions that you have. This part shows the differences between the two plans. So if you have questions, please check out this page and take a look, see what you think. That is announcement number 1. And yeah, the team has a 45% off sale now, so check it out. That is announcement 1. Announcement 2, if you have questions for me, if you have questions for me about grammar, vocabulary, culture, whatever, you find some weird thing you want to know more about, please send it to me for this series, the Ask Alicia Question and Answer series. You can find this from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube. It is at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. So check that out. And if you want to find me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, you can find the links for that as well on YouTube. So check that out. Okay, that is everything for announcements this week. I think everything is good. Facebook is here. Hi, Facebook. Welcome, everybody. Haved from Pakistan. Bang from Laos. Hello, everybody. Samar, good morning. Hi. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Oh, my gosh. From Cambodia. Oh, why can't I see your name? Hi, Pise from Cambodia. Cool, welcome everybody. And YouTube is here too. Great. Hi everybody on YouTube. Hello from Honduras, Rulo. Santiago from Argentina. Hi. Great. Okay, everyone is here, it looks like. So I'm going to share the video. Okay, and let's get to today's topic. If you missed it earlier, today's topic is 5 tips to practice your speaking skills alone. So I have 5 big tips and then a few very small tips at the end for practicing your spoken language skills. Okay, so let's take a look at today's lesson boards now. These are the tips. If you want to take a screenshot, go. So we're going to talk about reading out loud, shadowing, singing along to music, talking to yourself, recording yourself speaking, and a few other points as well. So in each part of today's lesson, I'm going to talk about some things to keep in mind as you practice with these strategies. Okay, so let's get started. And of course, if you haven't, please make sure to hit the like button and share the video because it helps other people to find the lesson. Okay, all right, so let's begin. How to practice your speaking skills alone. First, let's start with a really basic one. Reading out loud. Reading out loud. So, reading out loud is what I'm doing now, yeah? You read text and say it out loud. So this is a way to practice, of course, saying the words, but also connecting words, making sentences, and understanding different ways that different people speak, okay? So, some ideas. When you want to practice speaking, by reading out loud, it's important to think about what text you use. So maybe like a textbook of just vocabulary isn't good. We want to practice reading full sentences, complete ideas, yeah? So, for example, books use books. So a fiction book, so a non-real story, or a non-fiction book, so a true story, whatever, a book, a magazine, newspapers, maybe you find an article online the key is choose resources, so choose texts, choose things to read that have been checked for accuracy. Checked for accuracy means someone looked at the text to confirm it's correct. So for this, I don't recommend using, for example, like social media posts, because sometimes, including me, we make a mistake, like we type the wrong letter, or maybe sometimes the word choice isn't perfect. So that's why using resources, using materials like these are a really good idea, because someone checked that resource, someone checked the text to make sure it's correct, okay? So what you can do to practice your speaking with text is read the text out loud to practice speaking in full sentences. So that means you don't have to worry about what to say, right? You just read it from the book, yeah? So you don't have to think about creating the sentence. Your job is to practice saying the full sentence, just practice speaking out loud, okay? Then, point 2 here, take time to check the meaning and pronunciation of new vocabulary words. So that means when you're reading, probably you're going to find new vocabulary words, right? So maybe you don't know the meaning or you don't know how to say the word. So take a moment, like make a note, and check a dictionary. You can use online dictionaries to check the pronunciation of a word also. So check an online dictionary to listen to the word if you don't know it. Like check the definition of the word as well. So take the time to check the meaning and pronunciation of new vocabulary words, okay? Also, when you choose something to practice with, don't choose something super, super hard, right? So choose something you can understand a lot of, like maybe 80% or 90% of for this type of practice. If you have something super difficult, you understand like 20% or 30%, it's not good practice for you, yeah? So the purpose of reading out loud is to practice making sentences and like getting an understanding, so becoming able to understand how to connect words naturally, okay? All right, so this is the first point for today. Oops, okay, sorry, Facebook. There's so much information on Facebook. Okay, so let's go to point 2 then. Point 2 here is about shadowing. Shadowing. I talk about shadowing every once in a while on this channel, but if you don't know, shadowing means repeating after a native speaker as they speak. So for example, when I speak in videos, you could repeat after me. The point is, you repeat very, very quickly after the native speaker and try to say the same things that they said, yeah? So the idea here is you are trying to use the same pronunciation, the same intonation, and so on. So you're practicing not just the words and the grammar, but you're also practicing the rhythm of speech, yeah? Okay, good. So you can use YouTube videos, of course. YouTube videos or Facebook videos, you can use those. You can use movies to do this. You can use TV shows to do this. You can use podcasts, whatever. So find something you can repeat after easily and quickly. And I recommend you choose something you can rewind. So you can go back and listen to something again and practice again. So it's really hard to do this if maybe you're in like don't do this in a movie theater, for example. I hope you don't do this. So use something you can listen to and practice a few times, yeah? Okay. Jomari on Facebook says, can I practice with scripts or dialogues? Yes, 100%. You can absolutely do that. That's a great practice resource. So for example, if you are studying with our lessons at EnglishClass101.com, you will find a dialogue to listen to, and there are scripts also to listen to, or sorry, scripts to read. So you can do both of these with that lesson material. So 100%, yes, super, super great idea. Okay? I don't see other questions. Okay, so let's go to the next point. So I said, yes, practice pronunciation and intonation with this style of practice, with this practice strategy. And also, a tip is to start with conversations and topics that you can use in your life. So, for example, maybe talk about your hobbies or practice shadowing someone explaining their schedule or explaining their work or explaining their studies. Something you can use in your everyday life. That might help you to see how you can use it yourself. Yeah? Okay, cool. Pedra Andrade, I hope, sorry, on YouTube says, do you think it's a good idea to read books even when we don't know the exact pronunciation? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. If you find a word you don't know, you can look, I mentioned this earlier, but you can check an online dictionary like Merriam-Webster to check the pronunciation. Also, native speakers find new words all the time. Also, like I sometimes read a news article or a maybe special topic article and I find a new word and I don't know the pronunciation. I do exactly that. I go to the dictionary, I check the definition, I check the pronunciation. That's exactly what I do when I find a new word. So yes, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so this is part 1. So 2 tips are reading out loud and shadowing. Okay, let's take one quick break and then we'll go to tips 2 and 3. So if you missed it earlier, there is a 45% off sale on our study programs. If you want to study English with us, check the link below the video if you're watching this on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, and you will find this page where if you scroll to this part of the page, right now I'm showing you the differences between the Premium and the Premium Plus plans. If you want to study with us, there's a lot of information here. You can check all the stuff you need to know, and if you want to study with us, check it out. You will get a 45% off deal the team has put together, so check that out if you want to study with our lessons. All right, so let's go to part 2 for today's lesson then. If you missed it, today's topic is 5 tips to practice your speaking skills alone. What can you do to practice your speaking skills? Okay, so let's get going with that. All right, let's go to part 2 now. Okay, part 2 points. First one, something that people ask me about a lot is music, using music for study purposes. So let's talk about this. I get a lot of questions about this point. So practice your speaking skills by singing along to music. Okay, so you can choose popular songs. You can choose kids songs. If you're a super beginner, kids songs, there's no problem starting with kids songs. Like children, native speaker children use those to practice. That's great, right? So what you can do when you want to use music to practice is, first, do a Google search. Do a Google search for the lyrics of a song you like. Lyrics means the words in the song, the words the singer is saying, the words the singer uses in the song, okay? So do a Google search for the lyrics, the words, of a song you like. Practice singing at the same time as the song. So this takes some practice, yeah? You read the lyrics at the same time as you listen, maybe, and then when you are comfortable with the words on the page, try saying them out loud. Try singing along with the song, okay? So you can do this to practice, and then when you feel comfortable, when you think, okay, I can do it, I can sing together with the music, later try to sing the song to yourself with no music. So like you're cooking dinner or you're cleaning your house or something. Maybe you're doing something in your living room, whatever. Try singing the song to yourself, just by yourself with no music, to try to practice also, okay? So these are 2 ways you can use, or 2 strategies, to sing along, to use music to practice your speaking. But important note here, make sure to choose practice songs carefully. Choose carefully. And remember that perfect grammar, pronunciation, and intonation are often not used in songs. So in a lot of songs in a lot of different cultures, maybe the grammar in music or the way people speak is different from everyday conversation, yeah? So please keep this in mind, that maybe the music you're listening to is not the same as everyday conversation. But you can still learn vocabulary, you can still learn some things for sure. Okay? So here is how you can use music to practice your speaking skills. All right? What does intonation mean? So, okay, so what's the difference between pronunciation and intonation? Pronunciation is how we say the letters, yeah? So, for example, like the difference between R and L, right? Pronunciation, how we change our mouth to make sounds. Intonation is going up and down and up and down and making different kind of volumes with our voice, right? So finding the correct way or maybe like finding the right rhythm for your voice. So sometimes I hear learners, they speak really, really flat. And in English, that sounds unnatural. Maybe in your native language, it sounds normal to have kind of flat speech. But in English, like you can probably hear today, there's lots of ups and downs, and we use our voice for natural emphasis like that. So that's what intonation is. Okay? All right, so let's continue to the next one. The next one sounds strange, but it's helpful. The next one is talking to yourself, talking to yourself. So this means you're at home alone, or you're somewhere alone, I hope. You probably should practice like this alone. You can talk to yourself. Just think out loud about your day, your plans, your successes, the stuff you did really well, your failures, the things you were bad at recently, your friends and family. So talk out loud about your life. Use English to talk about yourself to yourself, you know. So you can try thinking out loud about different topics. So don't always think like, what am I doing now? I'll talk about what I'm doing now. Try to kind of do like a diary, yeah? Like you're writing a journal, but speak it, yeah? So maybe it's helpful if you write it down first. It could be helpful for you, but try talking to yourself about your everyday life, okay? And with this one, it's important to practice different grammar points, especially tenses. So that means using present tense, so everyday facts, and using future tense, what are you going to do? What are your plans? Using past tense to talk about things that happened before. So try to use many different tenses to talk to yourself about what you did, what you're going to do, and so on. Okay, so here are some points for talking to yourself. Yeah, so again, this one is a good one to do when you are alone at home or you're alone in maybe a study room. So make sure to just, yeah, you can say out loud what you're doing. So like a really good example of this is like when you're cooking. Yeah, you can think about the different steps as you're cooking something and try to express that in English. So that's one way. Okay. Good. Max Sanchez says, talk to yourself in front of a mirror. Maybe if it's helpful for you, that could help. If you're working on pronunciation, I've heard some people say that that is helpful for them, is to kind of look at how a native speaker makes sounds, like how they use their mouth, and trying to match that by practicing in front of a mirror. So maybe if you are struggling to make a certain sound, that might be a helpful way for you to practice. Okay? All right, good, very good. Let's go to one more break, and then we'll go to the last point. Okay, cool. So that is point 2, singing along to music and talking to yourself. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll go to the last part. So if you missed it, there is 45% off the programs, the study programs at EnglishClass101.com if you want to practice English with our video and audio lessons. So the stuff I'm talking about in this lesson as well, you can find Like someone mentioned earlier, scripts to practice with, dialogues, there are lesson notes, there's so much information, so much that you can use to practice. So if you want to get that, you can find the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Okay. Mohammed Ahmed says, what can we do with our different accents during reading? So when you're reading, if you have a different accent, yes, actually, the last point for today. I hope this answers your question. Let's go. So I hope that this answers this question and gives you a tip that you can use. Okay, so the last point, I've talked about this many times on this channel. The last point, the last big tip, is recording yourself speaking. Recording yourself speaking. So record on your phone, your computer, or another recording device. So you can use like your phone. If you're watching this on a phone, you can pick up your phone and record your own voice here. So you can do this, or you can, maybe you have some other technology you can use. So here is kind of a basic 3-step process. What's the purpose of this? Why is this helpful? So when you do this, listen to a native speaker and try to repeat exactly what they said. So like shadowing. So for example, I know many people use YouTube videos for this type of practice. That's great. So for example, if you watch a video where I'm speaking, maybe you listen to me saying something, like a grammar point or something like that, and then you try to repeat exactly what I said, okay? When you do that, step 1, record yourself. So record yourself saying the same words I'm saying. Then 2, listen to your recording. And 3, compare your voice to my voice. Compare your voice to the native speaker's voice. Listen. What parts sound different? So if you find I say one word in one way and you say the word in a different way, that's a practice point. Practice those parts right there. So this can help you to find the parts of your pronunciation and your intonation also that need some work. So this is a really great way to practice alone, listening to yourself, okay? And some people say like, oh, I hate listening to my voice. It's so bad, it's so bad. So keep in mind, you don't have to share your recording with anybody. Your recording is just for you. It's just for you to practice, just for you to listen to. So you don't have to give that to anybody. Don't worry about that. If you want to, of course you can. Like on the website, on our website, you can, if you have a teacher, if you have the plan with the teacher, you can send your recording to your teacher and they'll give you some feedback about parts to improve too. Okay? So this is a super, super good way to practice, of course, speaking, but also to find your weak spots so that you know what to practice. And you can practice again and again. Okay? Cool. All right. Some questions. All right. Lots of people saying hello. Shaden says, what about if there's no one to speak with? Yes, that's what this lesson is about. This whole lesson is about practicing alone. So if you missed it, please watch this video after the live stream has ended. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go to the last part here. I have a few other important tips I want to mention. So we talked about 5 tips, but like the background behind all of these tips, a few things. First, practice regularly. Practice regularly. So don't practice like 30 minutes like once a month. It's not very helpful. Make sure you practice a little bit every day. That's the best. Like maybe a few times a week at least. So make sure you are doing practice often. Second, really big tip, review, review, review. So don't practice something just one time. Go back, try it again. You'll notice you get better and better. And if you record yourself speaking, you will have a record of your progress. That's actually really, really cool to see. When you realize something was difficult for you a week before, but now you can do it, it's actually really exciting. You can find your own progress using this method. So that's super cool. Okay? Then, Next tip here is use many different practice strategies and different resources. So today I talked about 5 tips to work on your speaking skills. So don't use the same strategy all the time. Try to use different strategies and different resources. So that means don't use always the same text or always the same music. Try to use different resources. So find something different to read, something different to listen to practice. Make sure you keep challenging yourself. Okay? All right. And finally, when you have a chance to speak in an actual conversation, do it. So don't waste your chances to actually practice in real life or online. So I've seen many learners that feel really shy. Even when they come to their English lesson, they feel really shy and they don't want to talk in class. But that's your chance. Like you maybe, or you have a tutor, or maybe you pay money to use that time for your studies. So make sure you use it. When you have a chance to practice, make sure you practice. Okay? So these are a few extra tips to keep in mind. So please think about these when you are doing your practice alone. Okay? Cool. All right. So let's go to the end. That's it. That's everything. So I'll show you today's lesson boards one more time. I talked about 5 tips that you can use to practice your speaking skills alone. So here they are. We talked about reading out loud. We talked about shadowing, singing along to music and talking to yourself, and recording yourself speaking. So we covered quite a few, I think, ideas. So I hope that everybody found something they can think about to improve their speaking skills. Yeah? All right. So that is it for today, but I'll be back next week, of course. So please join me again for next week's lesson. Here is next week's lesson information. Next week's lesson will be June 30th, Wednesday, June 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it. Please use your Google skills. Or you can set a notification on YouTube or on Facebook to do that. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, I always share in my stories a link and a topic reminder for the week's live stream. So you can find that. If you want to follow me on social media, Instagram or Twitter, you can find the link below the video on YouTube. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to say no to things and decline or reject offers. So how do you politely say no to things? How do you deal with that? And how do you make sure you keep good connections with people when you say no to them? So this will be the topic for next week's lesson. So please join me again for next week. All right, that is it. Everybody is saying hello still. So hello, thanks very much for joining. So please join me next week. I will see you there. Actually, I have 1 minute left. I'm early today. This never happens. So I have time for another couple questions. Let's see. Someone asked a question. I just saw, where was that? On YouTube. About frequency, about practice frequency, I think. Yeah, here it is, Rodrigo. How frequent is good to practice? So as often as possible is a good guide. So you don't have to spend like 3 hours every day. If you have that much time, great. But most people are busy, right? We have lots to take care of. So basically a good guide is just to try to practice every day. If you have 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, awesome. That's 30 minutes in a day. That's great. So make sure to practice as often as you possibly can. If you can make a schedule for yourself, so you have like a steady rhythm, that's really, really good to do. Okay? Cool. Okay. Other points? Okay, I don't think so. So let's get to the end for today's lesson. I will say goodbye for today and take this away. So thanks very much for joining me this week. That was super, super fun. I hope you found some good tips to improve your speaking skills. And if you want to practice with us, check out the link below or above the video to get this 45% off deal. If you want to study with our lessons. So I'll say goodbye. Have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you again